Testing, testing. You're good?
Good evening. If you can start making your way in and finding a seat so that we can start tonight's event.
Wait, so we're missing Angelo? All right. Yeah.
Good evening. I am honored and privileged to be your host tonight. My name is Addis Dieguez. For those of you who do not know who I am Mayor Josh Dieguez's mom, and I am honored.
Excuse me, ma'am. I thought you were his sister.
Thank you. You get brownie points. I am honored to be your presenter tonight for the Miami Lakes Annual State of the Town Address, the 2025. And I just wanted to share a little something about Josh, because who knows Josh better than his mom? So Josh is a miracle child. He was born against all odds. He, from a very young age, loved books. He was very nerdy. At the age of 7, he already had very thick glasses. He always carried around books. At the age of 9, more or less, he started to watch C-SPAN. So you see a pattern there. If anybody has ever watched C-SPAN, or if anybody ever has trouble going to sleep, you can turn that on and it will put you right to sleep. At that very young age, he didn't have a lot of young friends. He made a lot of conversations with older people, asked about politics, about life, and everybody was very impressed. He always used these huge words, which I didn't even know what they meant most of the time. But Joshua was very loved by his family, his church family, and he would sometimes get my hairbrush, my round hairbrush, put on his dad's suit, when he was 9, and he would start preaching to his sister, because he would imitate the pastor, preaching to his sister all her dolls and all his little heroes, and he would just preach to them. And so he always was meant to have a mic. He was named Joshua for Joshua in the Bible, who was the lead, took over when Moses passed, and he led the people to the promised land. He was a warrior, and that's who we wanted our son to be. And we prayed for him, and lo and behold, here he is today. We're very proud of him. We have been a resident of Miami Lakes since he was a few months old, since 1989. He was born and he was raised in Miami Lakes. So was his sister. We love Miami Lakes. Joshua also many times went, because his dad and I were very, very politically inclined to certain candidates, and we would stand in the corner of Miami Lakes K through 8, in the corner with the signs of whatever candidate we were going for, and he was there always cheering. We have videos of him doing that. So we're proud of you, son. Look how far you've come. His nickname, ever since he was 11 years old, was Mr. President, because he always said that he wanted to be president of the United States. Yes. So without any further ado, I would like to welcome Gina Inguanza, our town clerk, to introduce our dignitaries and special guests tonight. Thank you.
So good evening and welcome. Buenas noches. Buenas noches. It is always wonderful to see many familiar faces. This is your house. And as I always share with my husband and I tell my friends, this is the government center. So this is a common denominator. This is the house of all the residents of the town of Miami Lakes. So it pleases us and it gives us great joy whenever we see familiar faces and new faces. This is your town. This is your house. So I want to start by saying thank you to the dignitaries that I see that are visiting us. State Senator Rene Garcia, thank you for being here. And from your office as well, Mr. David Marin, thank you. We have Ms. Felicia Salazar from State Representative Tom Fabricio's office. And as well, I'm very honored and pleased to see familiar faces that I worked with and served. I'm going to start from this corner. Vice Mayor Luis E. Collazo. Councilwoman Marilyn Ruano. Councilmember George Lopez. And as I like to say and recognize, Founding Father Mayor Wayne Slayton. Yes. And I don't see you, but I saw him earlier, Vice Mayor Tony Fernandez. Welcome. It is with great joy that we have you all here tonight, and the ones that couldn't come that did email us that they wanted to be here. Thank you always for being special for our town. We don't forget the job you did. So I give you back the mic.
And now I welcome, oh, I think you just took my notes.
Let me see.
They were on this side. And now we welcome the Miami-Dade Sheriff's Office for the presentation of the colors. Thank you for standing.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Briella is going to be leading us with the national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light
what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming. And the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Councilman J.C. Fernandez to lead us in the invocation tonight. Mayor Dieguez, introduction of the Volunteer of the Year. Oh, I'm so sorry. The invocation.
Good evening, everyone. Let us take a brief moment together to pause, reflect, and give thanks. We gather tonight, dear Lord, as a community, united by a shared commitment to the town of Miami Lakes, a place we are blessed to call home. We are grateful for the opportunity to serve our neighbors, to uplift one another, and to work toward a future that honors the values on which this town was built: respect, integrity, and a deep sense of civic responsibility. As we begin this State of the Town address, we ask for wisdom and clarity for our mayor, for this council, and for all those entrusted with leadership. May we approach our decisions with humility, compassion, and fairness. May we always listen to the voices of our residents and be guided by what strengthens our community and preserves the beauty and character of Miami Lakes. Tonight, we also give thanks for the people who make this town thrive: our families, our volunteers, and our first responders, our staff, and every resident who contributes to the fabric of our community through their work, service, and kindness. Let this evening be one of unity, reflection, and renewed purpose. May we continue striving toward a future that is safe, prosperous, and hopeful for all who live and work here. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Mayor Dieguez.
Thank you. You may all be seated. So giving out the Volunteer of the Year award is a tradition here for mayors in the State of the Town address. And as I said about deciding how to even pick a Volunteer of the Year, it eventually dawned on me that the best people to ask for guidance on making a decision was to get nominations from our liaisons that work so closely with our various volunteer boards. And they were all unanimous in recommending, actually not just one, but a couple members of this family, representatives of whom are here tonight. And for various reasons, right? This is a family that believes in public service. They believe in giving back to the community. In fact, one of them actually served in the United States Armed Forces, and unfortunately was not able to be here tonight. But with that, regardless though, I want to go ahead and recognize as a family unit, because of their, again, their extensive involvement with the town of Miami Lakes and our various boards, I want to recognize the Gonzalez family as the Family of the Year. And we're going to go down there to give them this plaque, but representing the entire family, we have Kiki, who many of you know. In fact, she grew up with many of us, when when I was a council member, when many of you were still serving the council, helping out in various programs that we have, most recently with the town's 25th anniversary celebration, and the entire family with the Veterans Parade. Unfortunately, her father could not be here for medical reasons, but Omar, we wish you the best. We're praying for you. And, we thank you as well for your continued service to the community. He's someone that you'll see, especially at our elderly affairs events and our cultural affairs events, constantly striving for ways to give back. So with that, I would like to present this plaque to the Gonzalez family as a family unit. And we're going to come down here to formally present it to you and give you take some photos with you.
Well, thank you guys so much for this recognition. So a lot of you guys know my dad, Omar. He was the one that started everything. He was telling me that he used to be part of the town for the Civics Association before there was even a town council. It was a Civics Association. That was my dad. He did everything that I could ever imagine. And since I was little, I remember being Bob Graham. I was like watching him in the parade. I'm like, I want to be just like you. So that's what I did. So I started volunteering my time at the Veterans Day Parade when I was 12 years old. So this past year was my 10-year anniversary of volunteering the Veterans Day Parade. So it was really fun. So I was really jealous of him, like, oh my God, everyone knows you, like everyone in the town knows you. Like, I want that recognition. So I just did that. And then I got into it was the spot had a little, the teen group, the hang. There was an actual council for it, and I was part of it. And it was like super fun, and I loved it so much. And then I went to college, and that was kind of the end of it. And then I came back, and I was like, you know what? My dad was in public safety for the longest time. He was in a committee, and let me join a committee. So I did Youth Activities Task Force, and that's where I'm part of now. And hopefully we're going to go into second committee. But that's just me. I don't have a lot of friends. The town's my friend, and I'll do anything for it. So thank you guys so much again.
Well, you have a friend in all of us, so thank you, Kiki. Please give my best to the rest of the family, all right?
Our town manager, Ed Peterman, is going to be announcing the Employee of the Year.
Thank you.
Give it back.
Yeah, I don't want to take all your papers. Most important thing. All right. It is my great pleasure to recognize an employee whose dedication, professionalism, and work ethic truly embody the values of the town of Miami Lakes. Our Employee of the Year for fiscal year 2025 is someone who has distinguished herself through unwavering commitment and exceptional service. Our Employee of the Year began her journey with the town in October 2022 as the liaison to our committees, the Special Needs Advisory Board, the Mental Health Task Force, and the Miami-Dade County Sheriff Ordinance Review Ad Hoc Committee. In that role, she quickly established herself as dependable, resourceful, and always willing to go above and beyond to support our volunteer committees in ensuring their success with implementing their programs and initiatives. Her strong organizational skills, positive attitude, and readiness to take initiative did not go unnoticed. In April 2024, she was selected for the role of Accounts Payable Specialist, a position vital to the financial operations of the town. Transitioning into such a specialized and detail-oriented financial role is no small feat. Yet she approached it with professionalism, diligence, and an eagerness to learn. She asked questions, welcomed feedback, and quickly made the role her own. Today, she has mastered the accounts payable process, ensuring that payments to vendors are accurate, timely, and in full compliance with town policies and statutory requirements. What truly sets our Employee of the Year apart is not only her technical performance, but also her character. She brings genuine spirit of teamwork to every task and consistently demonstrates respect, patience, and courtesy toward colleagues, vendors, and residents. Her reliability and high-quality work contribute directly to the finance department's continued success in maintaining strong financial stewardship, transparency, and accountability. This year's recipients' academic achievements reflect the same drive and excellence she brings to her work. She earned her Bachelor's of Arts in Political Science, summa cum laude, with a minor in International Relations from Florida International University. In December 2021, graduating with a 3.98 GPA. I did not get that. She was a member of the FIU Honors College and appeared on the Dean's List each semester from fall 2018 through fall 2021. In April 2025, she earned her master's degree in public administration. She also has gained valuable public service experience through internships with Senator Rene Garcia and Commissioner Steve Bovo at the Miami-Dade County Board of County Commissioners and the Republican Party of Miami-Dade County. Our award winner was inducted into Pi Alpha Alpha, the National Honor Society for Public Affairs and Administration, and was also selected by the Florida City County Managers Association as recipient of the B. Harold Farmer Academic Scholarship for her academic achievements and commitment to local government. And she's not 100 years old. She's done all this, and yeah. Beyond her academic and professional accomplishments, she is deeply involved in her community. She is a choir member of Our Lady of the Lakes Catholic Church, where she serves as a cantor during Sunday evening masses and performs at Camilla's house during the holidays, sharing her talents and service to others. Throughout fiscal year 2025, this year's winner has exemplified what it means to be an outstanding public servant. She has consistently exceeded expectations, demonstrated exceptional attention to detail, and showed a level of dedication and integrity that has earned her the admiration of her peers and supervisors alike. I just want to interject here that the process that we use, the Employee of the Year is not just somebody that I pick, randomly and I select without any kind of due process. We actually have a bottom-up driven from the employees. We accept nominations from our entire staff. We have a process. We have a committee that evaluates them. They debate all of the names that were submitted, and then we select. They give me a recommendation, and up to now, in the 7 years that I've been here, I've also always concurred with the recommendation of the committee. But it's not something that I just decide on my own. It's driven from the employees, and so it's something that it's driven from the staff. For her outstanding performance, her professionalism, and the positive impact she has made within the finance department and the town as a whole, it is my honor to present the Town of Miami Lakes Employee of the Year Award for fiscal 2025 to Gabriela Escobar.
Mayor Dieguez.
So we're now going to present a special award to someone who will soon be leaving the town of Miami Lakes, not in spirit, but at least in terms of his daily duties. This individual is someone who has been critical to our goals here in the town because number one among the reasons why we run is to ensure that our residents are safe day in, day out, every evening. And this individual has been leading those men and women that go ahead and make sure that our residents are safe in their property, safe with their families, secured for the last, how long has it been now, Ed? It's since Gonzo has been leading our department. It's been 8 years, 8 years. And but you've had a much longer distinguished career in the law enforcement profession, starting in New York, then coming down here. I know that you have some very good reasons for deciding that now is the time for you to leave. But I didn't want to let you leave, though, without presenting you a key to the town and thanking you for your service. For those who don't know, Major Gonzalez is someone who has implemented many key initiatives here in the town of Miami Lakes, from minimum staffing, leading our Operation Grinch, which is especially relevant right now during the holidays, preventing package thefts, leading our police details to combat speeding, to deal with issues involving break-ins into homes. And because of him, as I'll detail more in the speech, we are now at least an 11-year record low when it comes to our crime statistics. So Major, would you and your family like to come up as I come down to the well to present this to you? Yes. So, and even though we had given you a proclamation earlier or rather in November, during your last meeting officially with us, I didn't want to let you leave with just that. I wanted to make sure that you had something else that you can go ahead and carry with you as you go on to the next chapter of your life. Again, you had so many different hats while you were here. Chief among them was obviously being our police major, leading our now sheriff's officers in the town. But you were also the traffic whisperer, playing a key role. It's true, playing a key role dealing with the county when it came to light synchronization and so many other issues. And thank you. And, a role which in itself requires patience, as the county commissioner, I'm sure, can tell you. So thank you. In fact, maybe that's what cost you all your hairs up there, but, but no, you're aging gracefully. And again, thank you for your service. Thank you for your friendship, and congratulations. Something great.
I joined the club of some very VIPs. I'm very very humbled by this. I've gotten a lot of medals and commendations, but this has to be the most special one in my career. So I'm very humbled. I thank you very much, and it was my honor to serve the town, and I'm glad that I'm able to retire here.
Congratulations, Don.
The history of the Graham companies really starts with my great grandfather, Ernest R. Graham.
Can I introduce him
He was
first?
working for the Pennsylvania Sugar Company back in the late.
All right.
With-
So we are celebrating our silver anniversary for the town of Miami Lakes this year. And we have a special presentation for those of you who were not able to see it at the event that we had at Veterans Park on Saturday. There's a great presentation video, the anniversary video of the history of the town of Miami Lakes, which they're going to be showing. If you can see at the monitors here to your left and also in the back. You can start it now.
My great grandfather, Ernest R. Graham. He was working for the Pennsylvania Sugar Company back in the late 20s, who was looking to grow sugarcane in the Everglades, which was not feasible. They decided no longer to do business down in South Florida, and they were closing up shop essentially. And so in January of 1932, started Graham's Dairy. At that time, we milked cows, we bottled, we produced, we delivered. You know, it was not unusual to see a Graham's Dairy truck out on the road. In the late 50s, early 60s, my great grandfathers thought he was going to sell the land if he could get $3,000 an acre, and thought that, you know, we could do something better if we develop it ourselves. And so he convinced his father as well as his siblings to be able to develop what we now know as Miami Lakes.
Mr. Graham, he wanted me to come to work for them in real estate. So I started selling the new construction.
Ain't tired of rock and rollin'. I ain't tired of rock and rollin'. I'll be dancing till the morning.
Nature, everything flows and it moves. And you look at the Miami Lakes, and especially the center core, you see our Nautilus shell. You know, Main Street was one of the last things to be developed. The reason why is because you really couldn't build a town center if you didn't have people that lived here to support it. We have longtime tenants that have been here, like Gary Snow and Snow's Jewelers.
My name is Gary Snow. I have Snow's Jewelers on Main Street in Miami Lakes. We're actually the first lease on this street. We signed a lease in late 1983, and we were able to open in March of 1984. My three girls grew up on the soccer field and the softball field. My friend Jim Hamilton, who was president of Optimist, got me involved in it. We've won many tournaments here and whatnot.
I started back in 1972 coaching tackle football. The Graham companies donated this land. The Graham companies owned the land when the first clubhouse was built. Is that Don Shula, who is on the Sports Hall of Fame wall, and his wife Dorothy were instrumental in fundraising for the original Optimist Clubhouse. I get stopped all the time, whether it's at Publix or other events in Miami Lakes, saying how much the Optimist sport programs meant to them. The park system is second to none as far as, to my knowledge, in Dade County.
There's probably upwards of 100 tot lots, 6 beachfront parks. I mean, and that's unheard of in a city. My name is Wayne Slayton, which I served as the first mayor of Miami Lakes. So what really motivated the idea of incorporation was the fact that our community was over 30 years old. Dade County was the entity that maintained these services to a greater or lesser extent, and the county just wasn't spending the resources in the Miami Lakes community. We finally convinced the Civic Association, now working with our commissioner.
I'm Natasha Sayas Villano. I was commissioner from District 13, and Miami Lakes was my pearl. I realized that this is something that I could look back and say, I was part of this, and I made it happen. And it's one of the things I'm very proud of.
We have the election, and right away, by county law, we have to form a charter committee and get the charter all back to the county within 3 months.
One of the final steps in the process was to write a charter, which is our constitution for the town of Miami Lakes. That is the final step that makes our town official. And that final vote, which happened
December 5th, 2000. That was our birthday.
Wow. It was a great event. We were on Main Street, the election night, got elected. There's like 200 people out on all of Main Street. We built the town from scratch.
Mary Collins, which she was instrumental in selecting me to design the town seal. Robert Alonso wanted an oak tree. I put little diamonds on it because, you know, we at that moment said, well, the jewel of a town.
I was there when we cut the ribbon, Town Hall, the opening of 87th Avenue, the Youth Center, the Optimist Park Clubhouse. 25 years later, we can safely say that incorporation worked, and incorporation, everything, all the fundamentals that they put in place back then are still moving our community forward.
Everyone has done something good for the town. So our mayor right now, George Dieguez, I think that in their own way, they have contributed tremendously, and the council members as well.
Hi, everybody. This is Mayor Josh Dieguez here. As a lifelong Miami Laker, it's my privilege and honor to be presiding over our 25th anniversary celebration. I want to wish the town a happy birthday, and I'm looking forward to all the ways that we will continue growing beautifully well into the future.
And now our mayor, Josh Dieguez, will be presenting the State of the Town address.
Thank you, everyone. You may be seated. Can everybody hear me okay? Excellent. And I want to thank all of you for being here tonight. Obviously, December is a notoriously difficult month for, you know, events like these, you know, so many family and office parties to go to. And just in general, for those of you, especially those of you with young kids, although I have two of my nephews here, you know, tonight. For those of you with young kids, you know what it is, you know, the commitment it takes to care for them, and, you know, that, you know, being here at an event like this takes away time from them. And so I thank you for taking just a little bit of your evening to spend it with us and hear what we've done over the past year, and hear more about what this council wants to do into the future. I want to thank again all our special dignitaries that are here tonight. I want to thank my colleagues that are in attendance. Councilman Sanchez could not be here due to his mother's birthday, but he sends his regards. And I want to thank as well our staff for being here and showing support for our Employee of the Year. As you all know, this year we celebrate the 25th anniversary of our town, the town of Miami Lakes, which became the 31st municipality to incorporate in Miami-Dade County on December 5th, 2000, when our majority of our residents approved the proposed town charter, our town's constitution. My duty tonight is to deliver the annual State of the Town, as is required of every mayor, in which I will provide my view on the condition of our town, especially in light of the 25 years of self-governance. Needless to say, I believe the state of the town of Miami Lakes to be stronger than ever, and that we continue to live up to the motto, growing beautifully each and every day. There are many reasons for that belief. However, I want to highlight just a few of them from the past year alone. First, I want to address the fulfillment of a key campaign promise I made when I ran for mayor last year, that being the restoration of funding to a normal level for all of our parks. Despite a challenging budget year, due to a combination of foreseen and unforeseen increases in expenses, myself and the town council voted to restore park funding to nearly pre-COVID levels. We would have gotten there, except that Councilman Herzberg has a thing against mulch. So technically, by cutting some of the mulching cycles, we actually, you know, we're just shy of that. But I think that is a major milestone if you think about it, that for 6 years, we have been operating on an austerity budget on perhaps the defining thing of our town. So I consider that to be a major accomplishment that myself, my colleagues, and our staff have accomplished together. And this means more investment in ensuring that our pocket parks, because it's not just our large parks, it's the 100 or so tot lots, as Mayor Slayton called them in the video, are being properly mowed, that park equipment and facilities are being properly maintained, and that our green spaces in general will continue thriving for use by our residents for fun or relaxation. This council fully agrees with me that our park system acts as an ambassador for our town, displaying for residents and future residents alike what sets our town apart from others. Lush green spaces that bring the community together and provide an oasis away from the concrete jungles that tend to define large urban counties like ours. What's more, earlier in the year, through a measure I sponsored in the mid-year budget amendment and approved by my colleagues, we fully funded phases 1 and 2 of the mini parks capital improvement plan. That being again to restore our pocket parks. What this plan includes is funding for and improvements to our park furniture and ensuring standard signage and equipment for all our parks to have a cleaner and more orderly appearance. Second, we are also making tremendous strides in public safety. In fact, our statistics bear out that in 2025, this has been our lowest crime rate in at least 11 years in the years that we've been keeping statistics since 2014. And that, of course, is in large part to the cooperation that we enjoy between our colleagues up here, making sure that we prioritize public safety funding, the leadership of our manager, Edward Peterman, and our command staff there, starting with Major Gonzalez and Lieutenant Eddie Uola, who's in the back there. Hi. So I want to thank them all for their continued leadership and for my colleagues for their continued leadership, making sure that we do not underfund or even make a single cut to this important line item. In case you're wondering, we are now spending about $12 million in public safety. That is the highest amount we have ever allocated for public safety in the history of the town of Miami Lakes. A clear commitment to law and order within the town. And as I was mentioning earlier, we have ensured, despite the difficult budget picture this year, that we are going to continue our speeding details to ensure that we enforce our traffic laws within the town. We are ensuring that we are continuing our specialized burglary details to prevent those that will take advantage of our residents, especially the most vulnerable, and also ensuring that in this holiday season, the season of giving, that through Operation Grinch or Grinch Busters, another specialized holiday detail that we intercept those who would take away the joy of Christmas and other holidays that our residents celebrate by stealing their packages when they arrive at their homes. And so I also want to use this time to, again, thank Major Gonzalez for another critical thing that many residents have actually written me about personally, to compliment him on, especially this year, implementing a more visible police presence. You may have noticed this, especially at night, that you have more officers, especially along our main avenues, with their lights on, parking in visible areas where they can be a visible deterrent to those that would enter the town to commit crime. So thank you, Major. We've also made improvements in our traffic situation. Once again, thanks to Major Gonzalez and our county partners, including Senator Rene Garcia, who is here with us tonight, we've done a much better job at managing our traffic light synchronization than in years past. To quote one Facebook user who posted this online, so there's receipts for this, that this first day of school this past August was one of the smoothest that he can remember. And he specifically pointed out that a lot of that was the operation of the lights the way they should, allowing cars to move seamlessly, or at least as seamlessly as you can here in Miami, through the town's roads and onto the highway system after they dropped off their kids. So again, thank you, Major, for that important contribution. And I hope you've please trained your successor to continue that good work. We've also, you may have noticed, started expanding our Palmetto southbound turn lane to accommodate more vehicles so as to reduce overcrowding that spills onto those westbound Miami Lakes drive lanes, and enabling more cars to queue up there, right? Additionally, even though this is a constant source of consternation for many residents, when the golf course project is eventually fully completed, The developers of that project, at their own expense, will have to add a new lane headed westbound to accommodate vehicles that are trying to turn into the project or onto the Palmetto headed eastbound. Between these two improvements, it will always ensure that there are no less than 2 westbound lanes on Miami Lakes Drive that were free-flowing and allowing cars to get to their destination as quickly as possible. So, and I want to thank my colleagues, past and present, for those efforts. The Vice Mayor, former Vice Mayor Fernandez and myself were up in Tallahassee advocating for these funds, and we were successful in that. And, you know, there's good, and I'm going to get to that more, but we have a lot more in store for you on this particular front. Additionally, we have reignited, thanks also to the help of our town manager, who is now part of the board at the Greater Miami Expressway Authority. We are restarting discussions on having highway connectivity to the Gratney Expressway from Northwest 67th Avenue, which will allow more cars to exit our town through another avenue that is not the Palmetto Expressway. And in that way, we are beginning to slowly untie the knot that we have seen develop over and over again at Miami Lakes Drive and the Palmetto Expressway. So I think that's a big accomplishment to finally be getting that going. And lastly, on this particular theme, I want to thank County Commissioner Senator Rene Garcia for his efforts, as well as Congressman Diaz-Balart, but for putting the appropriation for us to study additional connectivity, perhaps on the west side, because again, at the end of the day, what this town needs is, unfortunately, we're no longer just a small community on the edge of the Everglades, right? You know, we have seen the development that's going on around us and has an impact on us, whether we like it or not. The only other meaningful traffic relief we can do without widening our streets, which we all know would be unacceptable because of the cost to our trees and our other green spaces, would be more highway connectivity. So the senator was able to get us a study, which is, as you know, governments, we all love studies. You know, he helped us get the funding in order to take that first important step in order to go ahead and explore the possibility of highway connectivity on the west side as well. So thank you, Commissioner, for your efforts there. And thank you, Congressman Diaz-Balart. Now, when I was first elected in 2018, I stated at my installation that the power to tax is the power to destroy, and therefore we should exercise it cautiously. Now, again, despite a difficult budget year, this council was able to close a considerable budget gap while shielding the most vulnerable residents in our town from the worst effects of property taxation. After tightening our belt by almost $1 million, in fact, more than $1 million, the town was able to maintain its status as one of the top 5 lowest property tax rates in Miami-Dade County. Come on, guys, I think that's a good thing, right? I think it's important to note that we are very much always going to look for ways to tighten our belt where appropriate without sacrificing core services like parks and public safety, especially public safety. But that every chance we get where we not only can tighten the belt, but also reduce the tax burden on our residents, which seems to climb ever higher and higher, we will absolutely take that chance. And so thank you to my colleagues as well for all your hard work. We've put in a lot of hours trying to get there in the first place. It wasn't easy, but we did it. And this coming year, I know that we're going to be able to find an opportunity to do even better than we did this year. And, you know, what this shows us actually is that we are following our predecessors' leads from Mayor Slayton on down, you know, former Vice Mayor Collazo, Councilwoman Marilyn Morano, Councilman George Lopez, that we should always strive to do less with more whenever possible. And as part of that, I have continued since being elected to emphasize the importance of working with our intergovernmental partners to bring home more of our tax money back to the town so that we don't have to rely as much on property taxes. And toward that end, in partnership with Representative Fabricio, a Miami Lakes resident, by the way, and Senator Brian Avila, this year we were able to secure over $1.6 million in funding for infrastructure projects for the town of Miami Lakes. This money is paying for road improvements as well as improvements to our drainage infrastructure so that we can combat the effects of flooding and the negative impact it has on our economy, as well as our property, as our homes. We've also managed to secure in this year's budget $1 million commitment from Congressman Mario Diaz-Balart toward drainage improvements as well on Big Cypress Drive. And in a recent meeting with our county commissioner that we had at our very own Casavana, our favorite meeting spot, we received a commitment to work with our county partners to try and eliminate the last pocket of Miami Lakes that still relies on septic tanks for their drainage, or rather their sewage needs. Getting rid of this last pocket of septic is important, not only environmentally, but also it's just a better system when you are able to connect to sewer. But the problem is that this area in particular, it has never been able to connect because it is prohibitively expensive. But the commissioner and our other county partners are going to make it happen, I believe, hopefully soon, to go ahead to go ahead and get us the money so that we can bring the connection closer to these residents and they can finally hook up in a way that makes financial sense. So thank you, Commissioner, for that. And I just want to note that this is on top of the millions of dollars, at least $3 million that we received previously from Congressman Mario Diaz-Balart for the Northwest 59th Avenue project, which I will discuss more later. But I will continue this commitment to work and use the relationships I've built over the years, over the last decade or more, to go ahead and bring more money to the town of Miami Lakes and keep more money in our taxpayers' pockets. Now, during my first year, another thing I'm very proud of is having brought a strong commitment to bring government services closer to Miami Lakers. This year, I held a joint event with the property appraiser to assist homeowners in ensuring that their homestead exemption is properly maintained and that they have applied all other relevant and possible property tax exemptions to their property. Additionally, in partnership with our tax collector, we brought their mobile unit to Town Hall to assist residents with renewals of their driver's license, vehicle registrations, and much more. In fact, we have another event in partnership with his office coming on later this month. Stay tuned. Additionally, this month, we also have a partnership now with the Office of the Clerk and the Comptroller to bring their Operation Greenlight to Town Hall, which will enable residents to pay old fines, obtain certified copies of legal documents, and learn about anti-fraudulent property transfer measures that the clerk has implemented since he took office this year. Now, a couple other statistics from this year that I think is always important to know. Miami Lakes is a family-based community. And one of the best ways that we're able to bring the community together and to bring those families together, forge new friendships, as well as get more people involved into the town is through the events that we host every year. Thanks largely to our volunteers on our advisory boards, right? And once again this year, I'm pleased to say that the town successfully, even with all the financial pressures that we've been under, has been able to host and hold well over 100 events this year, which is a significant number. And the final number will be revealed in February as far as the net proceeds. But I can safely assure you, and I will announce the gross number as well at that time, but I can safely assure you that this year's Mayor's Charity Gala was a resounding success. We raised the most money of any Mayor's Charity Gala that in the town's history. So that is a lot. That is money that directly goes to the Special Needs Advisory Board, which is one of the few committees that does not have a regular source of funding from the town. And so they are completely reliant on this gala. So I'm very proud of this accomplishment, especially in light of certain difficulties. Unfortunately, some of the sponsors that we had in years past were no longer able to sponsor, but it's okay. Thanks to the help of, I'm proud to say, St. Thomas University, my law school, they stepped up to the plate in a big way. I see Dr. Lopez nodding in agreement there too. He's a teacher for those that don't know in their program there as well. But they stepped up in a big way, as did so many other local businesses. We have our chamber president, Ray Palacios, here with us, who also is a sponsor. Thank you for your help with this as well. And again, this is critical funding that goes to support the special needs community in Miami Lakes and the larger surrounding area. Those who have autism, those who deal with Down syndrome. And these programs, again, don't just go to helping out the children themselves, but their families as well, funding critical support systems for them, that they have for the parents of families that have special needs individuals in their homes. So I'm very proud of this accomplishment. And I would be remiss if I did not mention our commitment to transparency between all our meetings that we've had, whether they've been committee meetings, town meetings, or meetings of the council, special or regular, or videos that we've had in the town sharing information. We, across all social media platforms, we have had over 2.5 million views in 2025. So which is impressive considering the size of our town. Now, and I promise I'm getting to the end here. I wanted to highlight a couple initiatives that I'm going to be looking at in the future, and that I know my colleagues will also be looking at in the future, as well as give an update on some prior ones. One of the first things, though, I want to report as far as actions taken this year is that my colleagues approved my proposal to go ahead and study the building a tree farm, believe it or not, here in the town of Miami Lakes. Now, this may seem like an outlandish idea, but think about it, right? We are a town that loves our trees. We are a town, obviously, that wants to be as frugal as possible, saving as much taxpayer dollars as possible. By having this tree farm, this will allow us to be able to plant the trees that we regularly need to replace on our swales, and whether they're in our communities or on our main avenues. And this will be one way that we can save money to go ahead and replace them. It's one of our biggest expenses every year, right? And if done correctly, might even be a profit center, right? And so that was something that we passed this year. Another update I have, and this is a blast from the past, and I'm sure some of you will roll your eyes, but I'm proud to say that we have made the most progress ever when it comes to passing our own zip code. Yes, we passed the House. I can hear it already, but we have passed the House once again, thanks to the help of Congressman Mario Diaz-Balart. But what's one thing that was different, now that was not the case before, is we now have bipartisan support in the Senate as well for passing our own zip code. And I have been reliably informed by Senator Scott's staff that, as a matter of fact, they are preparing the bill that contains our own zip code for what's called committee markup. In other words, it's going to get its day in a committee hearing. Once it passes that, then it will make it all the way to the Senate floor. So I think this is the closest we've ever been. Yep. And I, for one, am very excited. Many of my colleagues in the room that are here tonight that are no longer serving with me, they were there at the beginning when we were trying to advance this issue in so many different ways. And I'm proud to say that we're finally getting to the end of this long process. And I want to thank our federal lobbying team for his effort in particular, because it's a one-man show for that. Yes. So TC Wolf, if you're watching, thank you so much for all your help on this. We have really, ever since we got you involved in this process, we have gotten closer than ever. And I just also want to note that he has been a key reason why we have been able to get the millions of dollars for 59th Avenue, as well as the millions of dollars that we are going to be receiving now for our drainage infrastructure. So thank you, TC. Now, a final report before I go on to, looking ahead. But on Northwest 59th Avenue, another older project that has caused a lot of consternation and we've been hearing about for so many years. I'm proud to say that within a few weeks, we will finally begin demolition on the building that we were acquired as part of that project. So that is a big milestone. It doesn't sound like a big milestone, but that is a big milestone in its own right. And we are now at 60% of design, or in terms of the engineer completing the engineering design for the project, and 30% on structural drawings. So we are moving very quickly to be able to put shovels in the ground, hopefully by next year. But, fingers crossed. For those who don't know, the Northwest 59th Avenue project is important because it would actually be one of the first new road construction projects that we've had in the town in a very long time, possibly since the Northwest 87th Avenue was open. And this will actually allow our residents to directly be able to go visit the businesses on the northeast quadrant of town, businesses like the Miami Lakes Auto Mall, Costco, everybody's favorite, Chick-fil-A, without having to exit the town. But more importantly, because that's just the economic benefits and convenience that we would be realizing from this project, but on a public safety level, we have Miami Lakes Educational Center out in that area, and they are currently cut off from our other services that we have nearby. Building this road will be able to shorten response times, whether it be for God forbid, a school shooting or for a fire that may break out in one of the buildings. And so this project is not only about convenience, it is about public safety. So I'm proud to say that we're finally moving the needle on that after all these years. And it has the added benefit that the sooner that we complete this project, the sooner we will be able to free up more taxpayer money for more projects that we care about with respect to our parks and also to even enhance our police services further. So that's coming soon. Now, looking ahead, I want to continue to also prioritize public safety along with my colleagues, as we all do, continue to enhance our parks, not so much just from a beautification standpoint, but from a programming standpoint. So be on the lookout for legislation related to that. I also am proud to say that I'm going to continue to and supercharge my push now, and as part of my efforts to bring government closer to the people, bring government services here to Town Hall that are easily and readily accessible for our residents, to finally get moving on having passport office services available at Town Hall for our town residents, to make it easier for those who like to travel, and I know many of you do, to be able to now have a location that you're familiar with and that will give you white glove service right here at Town Hall and make that a reality finally. The Miami Lakes Chamber also has been requesting, because for those who don't know, this has been one of the most difficult years on record for our retail establishment businesses, right? And so part of that challenge that we're having as well is that many people don't even know about the many great businesses that we have here in town. Now, our president of the chamber, Ray Palacios, requested that the council allocate, along with one of the owners of Chelis, Carlos Padilla, had advocated for something like $100,000 to do a marketing campaign for our Main Street merchants, and not just them, but for the businesses in each and every one of our shopping centers. Obviously, this is not something that we were able to do this year, and it's something that in the mix of the other priorities that we have will be very difficult. But as we got our heads together, one thing that we did realize is that the Hialeah Chamber of Commerce received $100,000, as it turns out, from the state legislature. So one of the things I will be proposing for next year's list of state legislative priorities, and I hope you will all join me in adding it to that, is to request funding for the Miami Lakes Chamber to receive money to finally be able to implement this marketing campaign. Additionally, I'm going to be continuing to work with my colleagues, as we always have, to look for alternative revenue sources to offset our reliance on property taxes, because my goal is not just to stay the 5th lowest property tax rate forever. Rather, my goal is to have the lowest property tax rate in the town of Miami Lakes. What's this? Now, and this one I'm going to speak from the heart, and so it'll probably be a little faster maybe. But it's the town's 25th year anniversary, and this is probably going to be the last event that we actually have to go ahead and celebrate it, right? And I think it's important, though, with so many people turning almost anti-local government, to make a defense of why we incorporated in the first place, and 25 years ago now, right? Mayor Slayton said it at Saturday's event and emphasized some of it in the video that you all saw. But the primary reason why we incorporated at the end of the day was to provide more services faster to our town residents, right? And that was something that was simply not happening, unfortunately, at that time, even with the supportive county commissioner, right? The county machinery just works a bit differently. So fortunately, then as now, we have a very supportive county commissioner who is encouraging us to continue our experiment in local government. And I really believe that we have. I mean, you heard the great things that we've been able to do, the greater responsiveness, because we have a town major that is here at Town Hall to be able to hear from residents directly. Major, this is an issue in my community. And the major, as many of you can tell you, including Councilman Cuadra Garcia before he even got elected, the major is nothing but attentive to our residents. He hears them out. And then once he hears what the problem is, he sets out to find a solution. When Manager Peterman also was contacted, whenever I've sent a constituent request over, him and his staff immediately jump on it to deal with a sidewalk issue or a tree trimming issue. And that is those are the benefits that you get specifically from having a government that is also closer to home. Because again, that allows us more flexibility to respond in a faster way. And as Alexis de Tocqueville, because again, I am a nerd, as my mom mentioned, as Alexis de Tocqueville wrote in his treatise, Democracy in America, town meetings are to liberty what primary schools are to science. They bring it within the people's reach. They teach men how to use and how to enjoy it. And I do believe that, whether or not we get yelled at online or in person in some cases, which, has happened, this is still an important experiment in democracy, right? Because what you see when people crowd the chambers, whether they're happy, whether they're upset, that is democracy in action. And I think that, what we need to remember when we maybe get so upset that it's like, well, why am I paying this, and et cetera, it's just to remember that at the end of the day, we are all here to do the people's work, right? I'm saying this especially to staff, don't never get discouraged, right? It comes with the territory that people are not always going to be happy with the decisions we make, with the things that we do, but yet we must continue on because that is what we do, right? We're professionals, and ultimately, I'm convinced that when the people see the good work that we do, they will ultimately understand and come over to our side. And that is democracy in action, in my opinion, is patience and persuasion. So with that, thank you. So, in short, my fellow Miami Lakers, the state of our town remains stronger than ever and will only get stronger well into the future. Thank you very much for being here.
And as we close, I want to wish all of you a very Merry Christmas. And I want to challenge you to do something during this holiday season. Be intentional with the people who are around you. Smile. Wish them a Merry Christmas. And enjoy your families like we do every year. And I want to wish you all also a very Happy New Year. Thank you for coming.